What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my builds guide and unit review of the Young Awakening banner featuring duo female Robin, young male Robin, Young Lissa, and also young Emmeryn. So let us begin with the start of the banner in duo female Robin. So she's here with Chrom and she does have Draconic Pacts as her preferred weapon. This gives her minus in special cooldown, making Flare into a 2 cooldown special, and whenever she uses an assist or is targeted by an assist of an ally, she's going to be getting minus in special cooldown, and she also inflicts the Hush Spectrum status on the foes in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her. And after using an assist, she's able to act afterwards. So this is something that we have seen before on a lot of Chroms, but what we have not seen is them getting another action if you use any other ally with their assist. So in a way, you're able to dance them up with any kind of ally by using an assist on them. And this is going to be extremely good for Aether Raids offense, defense, and also in Summoner Duel because it is action economy and it's incredible to get like 2 combats with a unit like this. And then if she initiates combat or if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she's able to get plus X to all of her stats. The description of the English is wrong here. It doesn't really debuff the enemies. Instead, it gives you the stats in the combat depending on the maximum special cooldown count of the foe multiplied by 2 and then subtracted from 16. So the less special cooldown count of the enemy, the more stats you're going to be getting in the combat. You also get 30% damage reduction on foe's first attack, including the brave hits. And then finally, you do have Null Guard in the weapon. So this allows you to easily trigger Flare, and her weapon is pretty basic when it comes to the combat effects, but she's going to be standing out because of having that another action after using assist and being able to act twice. And she also is going to be inflicting the Hush Spectrum status, which is a new status, and it's going to be a negative status on the enemy. So it's written from the perspective of the debuffed enemy. Here I've changed the perspective so that you can have an easier time understanding what this does. So it is going to be inflicting -5 to all of these stats of the foe in the combat. And if foe has got any kind of damaging special, then it is going to be inflicting the scowl effect on them before their first attack. And this scowl effect is not going to be taking any kind of resistance check, which is actually really strong. And then if the foe has any kind of slaying effect in their weapon or in their special, then you're able to get special cooldown -1 jump before your first attack. So you're able to scowl the enemy and also take the advantage of the special jumping and trigger Flare a lot easily. And because she can act after using her assist, this is going to be really good because you're not going to be expending your movement just for debuffing the enemies. You can still act afterwards, and this is huge for a game mode like Summoner Duels. Being a duo unit, they do have a duo skill which you can easily use in Summoner Duels, and this is going to be granting the Rally Spectrum and the Dual Strike status to themselves and also to allies in 7 rows and 7 columns centered on them. So the range of the skill is extremely huge, and Rally Spectrum is going to be giving you that special jumping, and Dual Strike is going to be giving you that brave attack. So she's going to be able to deal with a lot of units like Emblem Ike and many of the tanks because of having the Dual Strike status. And this is also going to be having the dual score effect in the Colosseum game modes, and she's going to be able to score like a 205 BST unit. They do come with Flare as their special and also an exclusive slot A skill in Fell Worm Scale. So this is going to be checking for the HP at start of combat, and if it's at or above 25%, then you can get +8 to all of these stats. And you also completely ignore any kind of visible buffs of the enemies, so it is essentially the dull all effect. And you also get true damage based on 15% of their attack, excluding the AoE specials, which is a bit troublesome because I wish they had that and then they would be able to spam the AoE specials. But unfortunately, they don't really get the extra damage in the AoE special. And then when their special triggers, they're able to neutralize the percentage-based damage reduction skills of the enemies. So it's going to be giving you that full damage reduction piercing, which means that you only have to run them with magical null follow-up or any kind of tempo 4 skill. And after the combat, they're able to heal up 7 HP. So it's good for the self-sustain, and overall this is a really good slotty skill, giving a lot of good effects. And also the damage reduction piercing, which is a huge thing because in case in the future we get some really good slot B skills, they're not going to be having that opportunity cost. And even now they can just run the Link skill, which a lot of units are not able to do because they're going to be missing out on that damage reduction piercing. And they also have the tier 4 version of attack speed Link, so it is going to be activated whenever a movement assist is used by or targets the unit. and then both of the allies are going to be getting +6 to all of their stats. And now they also get the Canto 1 status, which is good for the positioning. And you also inflict -4 speed debuff and -2 defense and resistance debuff on the foe in the combat. You are also going to be getting true damage on this tier 4 skill, depending on the total attack and speed buffs among unit and allies with Canto 1 status active on them. So it does give you better damage output, and this kind of link scale is going to be amazing on them because they can get an extra action, and it is going to be good on any kind of Lucina or Chrom. And Legendary Lucina is pretty much going to be the best recipient of this skill, so she can run this, and she previously didn't really have access to a snack skill, so she can run this along with the Future Vision 2, and Duo Chrom can also make use of this. They already get the +6 attack buff, so it does overlap a bit, but still you have better damage output. And then Brave Chrom can also run this if you're not going to be running an alarm skill in the slot C for the Canto 1. So this is going to be giving you another status effect in case you want to run Fatal Smoke 4 or something else in a slot C, and a build like this is going to be possible with Flared Sparrow and No Quarter. For Infantry Lucinas and Chroms, this Canto 1 status is going to be really good for positioning, and you wouldn't really have to depend on any other ally to give you this status. You can do that yourself and also get extraction, and that's not something that all of the other units can do. So the viability of the slot B skill is going to be limited to the units who can just get an extraction after using their movement assist. Overall, Duo Female Robin is an incredibly stacked unit who provides you the support, provides you the action economy, and also functions as a good nuke with Fel Worm Scale as their slot A skill. And the fact that you're able to get the scale effect from Hush Spectrum is amazing support for any kind of tank. And she's going to be a staple unit in Summoner Duels, and she's also going to be present in a lot of Aether Raids defense teams because she can function with a rally skill and can work as a rally trap unit and then act after that and then nuke the enemy after inflicting them with the Hush Spectrum status. So being able to deny the specials of the enemies is going to be really strong. And overall, in the coming months, I'm going to be seeing her quite a lot in these competitive game modes. And she already comes with a good base kit, so not a lot of things you have to do. So you can run any kind of Sacred Seal that can give you extra offenses. And then if you're going to be using her in Aether Raids defense, then you could run her with Occultist Strike because she already pierces the damage reduction with her slot A skill. So you can run this and get the pre-combat damage. And Infantry Null Follow-Up 4 is going to be helping you get that order status, so it can help you move around and warp around, and then use Rally Up Attack for the Rally Trap, which is something you'll have to do if you're going to be using her in Aether Raids defense. So this way she's able to inflict the enemy with the Hush Spectrum, and then you can go in with your entire team. And if you're going to be using her in Aether Raids defense or arena, then a rally skill is pretty much what you're going to be running on her. And in Summoner Duels, you're going to be able to use Swap. A lot of times you don't really want to reposition your units into the range of the enemy, so swapping is incredibly helpful, and she's able to run this assist while still getting the extra action. And Canto Control is going to be a slot C skill that you can run, and it is going to be adding to the utility that she can provide to your team. I still think that attack speed link 4 is decent, even in Summoner Duels, where you're going to be facing a lot of tanks. That is still going to be providing you the Canto 1 status, which in my opinion can make or break things if you're going to be able to position better with your units. Young Male Robin is a red infantry mage this time with Fel War Tome as his preferred weapon. This gives him +3 speed, and if he initiates combat or if he's within 2 space of an ally, then he's able to get the 7 pre-combat damage. So that is really helpful because infantry units are not able to run Flared Sparrow, and him getting this pre-combat damage does mean that you can get extra damage output by running this with Occultist Strike. And then he gets +X to all of these stats, depending on foe's maximum special cooldown count, multiplied by 2 and then subtracted from 16. And then he does have the 30% damage reduction on foe's first attacks, including the Brave Hits, and also Null Guard, just like Female Robin. But if his damaging special's maximum cooldown is 3 or more, then he's going to be getting the full damage reduction piercing whenever he triggers his special. And again, this is going to be good for running other slot B skills that he can have access to being an infantry unit, and he wouldn't really have to run magical null follow-up. And then if he initiated combat, then he's able to set up the flame terrain on 5 spaces in a line. So it is pretty much Flared Sparrow built in this weapon, and you're going to be able to use this with a new slot B skill in Magic Gambit. So this skill is going to be facing competition from the other slot B skills, and there are not a lot of units that would want this skill. So this is going to be inflicting -4 speed and resistance debuff on the foe in the combat, and it is going to be active when you initiate combat or if you're facing a ranged enemy. And it is going to be giving you true damage based on the maximum special cooldown count -2 multiplied by 4. So max this could go up to 12, and you also get damage reduction up to 40%. So it is going to be working fine for Young Male Robin, but again, not a lot of units would want this. You can still have cavalry and flyers with Magic Gambit 4, but there are again other skills that you can run. And now that we have got the tier 4 version of the Trey skills, it's much better to run that to get that Canto. And just like Brave Male Robin, he does come with Tip the Skills, which is going to be giving you the Rally Spectrum status, and also it is going to be giving that to the allies in 2 spaces. This is going to be enabling him to warp to any ally that has got Rally Spectrum in 5 spaces, and you're going to be able to get +3 to all of your stats. So having Rally Spectrum is incredibly good when you're going to be running high cooldown specials with Magic Gambit and also with his weapon. So it makes sense why he doesn't have minus on special cooldown weapon. He does have good speed, and just like Female Robin, he also has the super boon in that. So speed is going to be the main asset you're going to be focusing on, and he does have a bit more defense, so that could come in handy, but overall he's just going to be stacking up his offenses. So he's going to be able to function as a nuke, and he's also providing support of the Rally Spectrum, and Rally Spectrum has aged as a really good support because it is going to be helping you against all kinds of the Scowl effect and also the Hush Spectrum that we have now with Duo Female Robin. If you're going to be building him up on a budget, then you can just give him Reposition and Blade Session as the Sacred Seal, and Flash Sparrow is already pretty good with a weapon like his, so it is going to be giving him these special charges. But if you want to optimize your Robin, then you can run Flare as the special. It's going to be a 3 cooldown special, so it does work with his weapon, and you can run Attack Speed Finish 4 as the slot is skill for getting that healing and true damage. And Occultist Strike is going to be giving you that pre-combat damage, which is going to be stacking up with the Flared Sparrow built in his weapon. So it is going to be giving you much better damage output, and again, you just want to stack up the offenses and nuke really hard with him. Young Lissa is an Axe infantry unit with new War Axe as her preferred weapon. This gives her minus on special cooldown, and she can get attack, defense, and resistance in combat, depending on 25% of her foe's visible attack subtracted from 4, and maximum this is going to be 14. And then she's got the full tempo effect built in this weapon, so she's going to be having the Null Guard and also the Null Special Acceleration, which is going to be helping her retaliate back with Bonfires and Ignis, which are going to be doing a lot of damage. And then she also reduces the effect of Deep Wound status by 50%. So her playstyle is going to be requiring a lot of healing, and then she also gets 80% damage reduction on foes' follow-up attacks, including the Brave follow-up attacks. She doesn't really get any kind of damage reduction on the first attacks, so for that you're going to be building her up. And then she's able to get the effects in combat depending on her HP whenever she triggers a damaging special. So if her HP is at or above 70%, then she's going to be doing true damage based on X% of her defense. But if her HP is below 70%, then she's going to be healing up X% of her defense. This X is going to be Lissa's maximum special cooldown count value multiplied by 10 and then added by 10. So having higher cooldown specials is something that you can do. So if she's going to be taking a lot of damage in the combat, then she's going to be healing up. Otherwise, she's just going to be nuking really hard with the true damage that she can get. So this is going to be working dynamically where, similar to Rat's skill, it is going to be giving you the effect depending on your HP. So if she takes a lot of damage from the enemy while tanking in the enemy phase, she's going to be healing up HP. So that helps her with the self-sustain, and she's going to be doing a lot of damage as well. So with her high bulk of base 47 defense and base 42 resistance, she's going to be able to tank well, and she also has a high attack stat of base 47 with a super boon. So she's going to be hitting really hard by using her bulk and also her attack, and she doesn't really have any kind of guaranteed follow-up attack in this weapon, so she's going to be relying on the one-shots using her slot B skills and using Bonfire and Ignis with her high defense. She does have Defense Res Finish 3 at 4-star, which is going to be a good bridge fodder, and Time Pulse 3 is also a pretty useful fodder skill if you're trying to learn the tier 4 version of this skill. And she is a 4-star focus unit, so a lot of people are going to be trying to plus and merge her, And if you're just going to be using her on a budget, then you can give her Quick Repose 3 because she lacks any kind of guaranteed follow-up attack. And for the asset, you can pick Attack, which is going to be having Super Boon. And Distant Counter Melee Sacred Seal is something you can run because she does have the resistance to easily retaliate back to a lot of the mages. And if you're going to be investing a bit more into her, then Attack Defense Bulwark 4 is going to be good for getting that damage reduction and also the after the combat healing. And you can also run No Quarter as the special, even though it's not a very high cooldown special. With Time Belts 4, you're going to be able to retaliate back with No Quarters that are going to be piercing through the damage reduction of the enemy, while you get the healing from the finish skill with her weapon and also the Bulwark skill. And Guard Echo is going to be an attune skill that you can run so that she can get the guard effect. And having the guard effect with her full tempo effect is actually really strong because the enemy is not charging their special unless they have Null Guard in their weapon or in their kit. So this is going to be very strong with Lissa for enemy phasing. If you're going to be using a Floret on her, then you can try and invest in her defense because she's going to be scaling off using her defense with her weapon. So it does make sense, and it is going to be making sense even more in a few minutes. So she can also run Special Spiral 4 in her slot B so that she can function with that one-shot playstyle. And Special Spiral is going to be giving you that full damage reduction piercing. So if you want to run Ignis, you can do that with Emblem Ike, giving you that unpierceable damage reduction. And Panic Smoke 4 is going to be a good tanking slotsy skill that she can run. She can even run a Ploy skill, but we don't really have Attack Defense Ploy yet. So this is something she can use, and she can also run Finish 4 skills in her slot A because she's going to be triggering her special really easily because of the full tempo in her weapon. And Ignis is going to be doing a lot of damage, and you also get plus 10 true damage with her slot A and slot B skill. But the best max investment skill that you can run on her is going to be Lagoose Friend. So this does cut the damage reduction in her weapon, but that doesn't really matter because you're going to be getting the flat damage reduction on her defense, and you're also going to be getting the full damage reduction piercing and also the special jumping. So because she has got that full tempo effect in her weapon, she can run a Pledge slotsy skill, and this way she's going to be getting the special charges and also the Null Guard from her weapon, and she can retaliate back with Aether because of the special jump of Lagoose Friend. And this is going to be doing a lot of damage and piercing through the damage reduction of the enemy. And you can also run Earthfire Boost 3 in her slot A so that you can get extra bulk with the extra HP. And you can just run Attack with Echo as the attune skill so that you can get all of the relevant visible buffs on her. And this is going to be taking the full advantage of her weapon and making her into a really solid enemy face tank. Young Emmeryn is an infantry healer with Exalt's War Staff as her preferred weapon. This is going to be having the Dazzling Staff effect built in her weapon, so you can just run any kind of Wrathful Staff skills. And then she also gets minus on special cooldown, making Light's Restraint into a 1 cooldown special. And if her HP is at or below 60%, or if she has entered combat, or if she has used an assist in the current turn, then any kind of ally can warp to a space within 2 spaces of her. So this is incredible for enabling a lot of allies that are going to be free from running Wings of Mercy as their slot B skill. So this is going to be having applications in Aether Raids offense, and it does enable the warping of all of your allies, and it's not going to be all that hard to enter in a combat with the Dazzling Staff effect. And even if you're not going to be entering in the combat, you're still going to be using your assist. And she also supports the allies in 3 spaces of her by giving them +4 to all of their stats in the combat, and they can also heal up 7 HP after their combat. And if she's within 3 spaces of an ally herself, then she's able to get +6 attack and resistance in combat, and she also gets the guaranteed follow-up attack, and she does get true damage based on 20% of her resistance. So this is going to be giving her good damage output, and her resistance is going to be high enough to easily run deploy skills at base 47, and her attack is also really good at base 47. She does bring a new assist in Magic Shield Plus, which is going to be the go-to assist for many of these staff units. So it is going to be healing the HP equal to 50% of units attacked, and it is going to be giving the target ally +6 attack and resistance buff and the null penalty status. And if it's used on turn 2 or later, then it is going to be giving another action to your healer at the cost of inflicting your healer with the gravity status and also the pair up cohort, which is not the biggest thing because we have a lot of warping. And this is going to be something you can trigger every other turn basically. So being able to get another action by healing up your allies and also giving them the visible buffs and also null penalty status is incredibly good. and this is something that a lot of healers are going to be running, but some of the healers can make excellent use out of this, and Emmeryn is going to be one of them. So if she's part of your mythic core, then she can give more support to her allies by giving that null penalty status, which is really useful in the Aster season because there's no Peony. And you can also run this on Duo Hilda as they do have the Duo skill, so that is going to be useful in summer duels. And because this is the first 400 SP assist for the healers, you're going to be able to make use of this in Arena. And Duo Elise, I believe, is going to be the highest scoring healer because of their dual effect. So this is going to be giving you better scoring. And if you want to use your healers in Arena, then this is definitely the assist you should be running. Overall, Young Emmeryn is a sleeper good unit on this banner, mainly because of the warping that she can enable. It is going to be freeing up your allies from Wings of Mercy, which is a big thing for many of the Gale Force and player phase teams. So she can open up some interesting options in Aether Raids offense and can also function in Aether Raids defense with the warping that you can enable. If you're going to be using her with the budget fodder, then she can run Attack Resistance Unity in her slot A. It is going to be having good synergy with Attack Res Oath 4 that she comes with, and you can just stack up her resistance and attack. You can also use her with Attack Resistance Finish 4, and Wrathful Tempo is also going to be an option. And because she's an infantry healer, Infantry Null Follow-Up is going to be a pretty good option, and it does give you that order status. So when you're going to be inflicted with the gravity status because of Magic Shield Pulse, it is going to be helping you just traverse around the map with the warping. And you can also use her in Aether Raids offense with a lot of your Gale Force teams and your player phase teams, because you can just go in with an initiator like Winter Edelgard and then just warp with Emmeryn with Wings of Mercy 4 and heal up Winter Edelgard, and then your entire team is going to be able to warp to Emmeryn. And this is a big thing because they can run other slot B skills like Physical Magical Null Follow-Up, they can run Occultist Strike, Assassin Strike, and they can even use their preferred skills in the case of Summer Edelgard and Winter Edelgard. And you can also make use of the tempo skill, so the flexibility it opens up is going to be amazing. And because she's an infantry healer herself, she can run Infantry Pulse 4 and just provide that pulse support to your allies like Asker and your other Gale Force units. And she doesn't really have to enter a combat to enable the warping, she just has to heal up an ally, which is not going to be hard with Wings of Mercy 4 and a Double Fury build on your main initiator. So she can open up some unique strategies in Aether Raids offense. And then if you're going to be using her with the ploy skills, then you should be running Still Water in her slot A and Sacred Seal. So if you have Rion Plumeria, then her fodder can be really helpful so that you can support with her resistance and also support even more with her weapon and assist. You can click the link on your stream right now to check out my review of Young Frederick, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as warping of Emmeryn against Gatekeeper and Warp Bubble. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.